Hi, I'm Matt from eSpares. In this video, I'll show you how to replace the drive belt and pulley in this Beko Tumble dryer. If you have a Beko Tumble dryer and you can hear that the motor is spinning, but the drum isn't turning, it's likely that the drive belt or pulley has failed and you'll need to replace them. Safety first, always unplug an appliance before carrying out any work. The next thing I need to do is to unscrew the top, the side panels and the heater cover at the back. Now, if you have a Beko Tumble dryer that has an issue with the drive belt or the pulley and it doesn't have removable sides, please see another of our videos. As I remove these two screws, I want to point out that these are not the same screws. They're holding in the same panel. This screw is designed to go into metal and this screw is designed to go into plastic. When removing the screws from your machine, take a note of where they've come from so that you can put them back in exactly the same position. For the heater cover screws, I've grabbed a separate container so I can keep these screws separate from the ones that came out of the side panels and the top. With the heater cover removed, I now need to remove the motor fan using a wrench kit. With the motor fan out of the way, I can show you the side of it, and here we can see the broken belt. If you're just replacing the large drive belt on your Beko Tumble dryer, it is possible to separate the front and the rear of the cavity slightly to separate them so you can lift the old belt out and drop the new one in. However, it is particularly difficult on this model. If you are replacing the small belt down the bottom here or the drive pulley, you'll need to remove the whole of the drum, and that's what we'll be doing in this video. To be able to separate the rear of the tumble dryer from the front of the tumble dryer, I need to remove the water container drawer and put that to one side. Remove this support for the top of the tumble dryer, and then remove the 4 screws that hold this top control panel in place. With those screws removed, gently allow the control panel to drop down, making sure you don't damage any of the wires behind. Next thing I need to do is to remove the 4 screws here that keep this bracket and this bracket in place. I can now loosen these 2 brackets. Next thing I need to do is to remove the screws that hold the drawer and the pipes in place. With the drawer unscrewed, I can now release these 2 pipes. So what I'm going to do is unclip them from the cabinet. Do be careful as well on this edge, which can be extremely sharp. So I'm going to disconnect this white one from the drawer, but leave it attached at the bottom. The second pipe, this grey pipe, I'm going to unclip as well. Release it from the pump at the bottom, and then I can lift the whole drawer assembly away. I'm just going to pull this pipe up so it can come out with the drawer. Also going to take the old belt off, just so it's not in the way anymore. And then I can remove the whole drawer. With the drawer now removed, I now need to disconnect the electrical connections from the rear of the tumble dryer so I can separate it back, and I'll start with the heater wiring here. Next, I need to release the clip that holds the wires in place, and then disconnect the loom and guide from the rear of the machine. To release the wiring loom and guide, simply push in the two pips at the back, and then unhook from the rear of the machine. Like so. With all the wiring disconnected, I now need to unscrew this screw which holds the side of the cabinet in place, and unscrew the 4 screws which hold this back panel on, and then I'll be able to lift the drum out. With the final screw out, you can now see that the back panel is ready to be removed with the drum. The rear of the tumble dryer and the drum are now ready to be lifted out. There's very little clearance between the bottom of the drum and the base panel here. So what I need to do is get a good hold of it and lift the rear and the drum away together. May take some work, and do be careful of the sharp edges here as well. With the drum and the rear of the machine removed, you can see how easily I can access the motor now. The first thing I need to do is to remove this tension spring at the bottom. Remove this fan cover, and also disconnect all the electrical connections underneath. With the motor now released, I can lift it up and out. I'm just going to put the motor on the fan end because I need to work at this end. Do be careful because the fan is made of plastic and very delicate, and of course the motor is very heavy. Next thing I need to do is to remove this smaller belt. Just going to lift the motor up, put a bit of upward pressure on the belt, and it should ease off quite easily. Like so. Now I need to remove the circlip, which is holding the pulley in place. Do be very careful, as these circlips can be quite delicate. I can then remove the old pulley and put in place my new pulley before replacing the circlip. And now I can put in the new small belt. I'll put it round the motor pulley first before wrapping it round the larger pulley. Just turn both until it should slot into place. With the belt and pulley in place, I can now refit and reconnect the motor. Now that the motor is fitted and in place, I can now return the drum and the back panel to the machine. Now, this is the lip down here that the drum finds it difficult to get over. So it's a good idea to put the front top of the drum in first and then angle the rest, the drum and the back panel, into place. And this is also where you can insert your new drum belt. Simply wrap it around the drum and then you can use it as a handle. Now that the drum and the rear panel in place, I can re-screw this top bracket and also reattach the screws to the back panel. Back panel is now screwed into place. Then I can reattach the loom at the back. Easy enough to do. Make sure the two hooks come through the holes. Slide down into position, and then these two pips that hold it into place will poke through. Next thing I need to do is to reattach the electrics at the back. Before screwing in this cover, make sure that the wires lower down to the heater are covered sufficiently before screwing back into place. Next, I can reattach the water container drawer and also the pipes. Pipes are in place. Now I can re-screw in the control panel at the top. And also reinsert the water container drawer. To fit your new belt to the motor pulley, very carefully insert a screwdriver into one of the gaps of the motor here. Be very careful not to damage the motor windings. And then you can lever the motor up and simply tuck the belt underneath. Once the belt is in place, I can then reattach the fan, the heater cover, and re-screw in the side panels and the top. So there we have it, new belts and a pulley fitted to this Beko Tumble dryer. Not an easy fix by any stretch of the imagination, but one that will save you a lot of money. Remember, spares and accessories for all the appliances around your home can be found on the eSpares website. Thanks for watching.